everyone, welcome back to the Joe Review. And Newcastle United have put out their retain list for the summer. So 9 players from the first team and the under-21s have left the club, and then there's 5 from the academy. There's 4 players we'll touch on with the in terms of players that have left. There's a couple of lads that have signed new deals for the first team, and there's a couple of lads for the first team that have been offered new deals. So we'll get into the first player that's left the club, and that is Chris Wood. We knew this would happen. When he joined Nottingham Forest on loan, there was an obligation for them to buy him for £15 million if he met a certain criteria, which he has. And he did score some crucial goals, to be fair to him. It was a bit of a panic buy, 25 million release clause to sign him from Burnley. He scored those crucial goals against Southampton and Wolves, which won us a total of 4 points. Even against Brighton when 1-2-1, he did play a part in the when Fraser scored the opening goal. And he also scored against Tranmere when 1-2-1, and then against Crystal Palace in the penalty shootout in our run to the Carabao Cup final. So he is partially responsible for us to get into Wembley, because you never know, we might have lost that shootout against Tranmere. You never know what might have happened against Palace if he didn't score his penalty. Obviously Nick Pope was the hero that night, but we did see Botman and Bruno fail to score their kicks, but Wood did score his kick. Apart from that, it just really hasn't worked out for him at the club. I thought he would have done better than he has done. Was it 6 goals he got? 5 goals he got in all competitions. I just think, maybe just didn't fit the system. As I said, it was probably a panic buy. And good luck to him at Nottingham Forest. But it'd be good to get another striker in. It will be a challenge trying to find a striker who's happy to be third choice. But I think we could redo one with the injury problems that Isak and Wilson have had last season. Obviously, we know about Callum Wilson's injury history. On to the next player. That is Kieran Clark. We knew he would leave. He was left out of the Premier League squad in the second half of last season. Well, after Eddie Howe's first transfer window in charge. Even Dan Burn arrived, and even Federico Fernandez, who didn't really get a game under Eddie Howe until he went to Elche last summer. Even he was getting in the squad ahead of Clark. He went to Sheffield United on loan, and he's got on. I know he's got a couple of goals, and they did win promotion. I think he kept 4 clean sheets in 12 games. But good luck to Kieran Clark. I think it's a bit like Steven Taylor and just Fabrizio Colaccini back in the day. They've helped us get promoted, but then eventually, as they getting older, they're on the decline, and that's what's happened to Clark. And Colaccini and Taylor got relegated again with them at the back. And then for Clark again, it's a case of we need to bring in younger players at centre back, like we've done with Sven Botman and even Lascelles. You could argue something similar has happened to him in recent times. And he's barely getting games nowadays, even though he did alright against Liverpool and Man City when he did start in the Premier League. But with Clark, I am thankful that he's helped us a lot when we got promoted in his first season at the club, and even in our early years when we got back in the Premier League. But I don't think he's been the same since he signed a 2-year contract extension in 2021. On to the next player. That is Matty Longstaff, who he showed a lot of talent, a lot of promise when he was 19, scoring in both games against Man United, and he was getting capped in England at the 20 level. But he signed a new 2-year deal. Fans were fearing we'd lose him on a free transfer because of the talent he had. Udinese were linked with him. The other club clubs linked with him, I think. But just hasn't worked out for him since. Steve Bruce, I questioned why he wasn't getting more games under Steve Bruce when we had, Jeff Hendrick, Nabil Bentaleb underperforming, and they were getting him ahead of him. And he went along to Aberdeen. I thought, alright, we'll learn more about him, he'll get games. He signed a 1-year deal, so we can get a free for him if it doesn't work out, or use him the next season, hopefully under a different manager, which we eventually got. He did work out from Aberdeen. He did really well at Mansfield when he went alone there. I thought he might have went to Barnsley, who were linked with him, or maybe the Championship side on loan, but he went back to Colchester. He got a horrible injury there. He came back and he's been getting treatment. The club has said they will continue to treat the lad despite his contract expiring. I think he's got a cast on. I've seen him a few weeks back. He said his recovery's going slowly, so it might be a while before he finds a new club, but hopefully he does and he can work his way back up. But I think it was definitely the right move to let him go. And the final player we'll touch on that's left the club is Dan Langley. I saw him at Gateshead, and when he was on loan then, he wasn't impressive. He looked a bit nervous, I'd say, but I know he's only 22, and his peak years are many years ahead of him, but he needed to move on. He just wasn't good enough. And he did go to Spennymoor on loan. I don't know how he got on there, but it's definitely the right move to let him go. So good luck to Dan Langley, and also good luck to the other lads that have left the club. The ones from the academy, some of the other lads from the under 21s that didn't get a first team appearance. Now we'll touch on the players that have signed new deals. Matt Ritchie, I think there was an option to extend his deal by a year, and we've taken that up. I'm a bit surprised, really. Well, I say Eddie Howe did talk about wanting to keep him. He only made 2 starts last season. Both of them were in cup games against Tranmere and Sheffield Wednesday. There's always been talk about him for a while, about him wanting to go back down south. They've finished up his career at Portsmouth, because he did start off there just as he was about to get relegated from the Premier League. But I can only guess Ritchie, there's some coaching he'll be doing at the club, because he has done some coaching in the academy, so maybe he's got a coaching role, player coach role. I think Tom Huddleston's doing something similar, where he's played for Man United's under 21s, and he's also doing some coaching there. So Ritchie might be doing something similar to that. But the other player is that stayed on is Mark Gillespie. I'm a bit surprised at that, but maybe Eddie Howe wants to keep him as backup goalkeeper. We'll have offered to Karius a new deal. So you think, well, if Karius stays, Dubravka stays, Gillespie stays, well, we've got 3 backup goalkeepers in the squad, which I don't see much point in that, really. But then there's no guarantees Karius will stay. He has been offered a deal, but the reports are he wants to leave the club, potentially go to Italy, because his girlfriend is expecting a baby. I've got the feeling he's going to leave the club, if I'm being honest. After seeing Gillespie sign a deal, I think he'll want to move on. That's probably the only reason for Gillespie staying another year. Carl Darlow, I think he will be away. He did well on loan at Hull last year. They've been linked with signing him permanently. Middlesbrough have also been linked with a move for him. So hopefully we'll be able to get him off the wage bill. And the other player that's been offered a new deal is Paul Dummett. I think he will stay on at his boyhood club. I think, though, last summer I didn't agree with giving him a 1-year deal, and you thought, let's just let him go after just one appearance against Tranmere, and he struggled in that game. I did feel for him against Alton. He was meant to come on as a sub, but he didn't get the chance to do that because of the final whistle, which is always frustrating. But then The one thing I'd be happy to keep Dummett for is as to help with the locally trained quota with the UEFA squad. Now, you don't necessarily have to have the 4 players that were club trained between the ages of 15 and 21. There's further criteria to it, like loan spells. I think you can only have 1 loan spell, like with another club in the English leagues. He was on loan at Gateshead and St Mirren before he made his first team debut. But Dummett will fit that criteria, and if you don't have 4 players, if you've got less than 4 players, your squad size actually gets reduced, and because it is a 25-man squad again in Europe, but that can be reduced if you don't have enough locally trained players. Obviously, we've got Longstaff that will fit that criteria. Anderson would, but he doesn't have to be registered. And but yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say for the retained list for this summer. Don't forget to like on the video, subscribe to my channel. I might do a video later this week when after the fixtures get announced tomorrow. But yeah, check out my social media pages in the description below. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and see you later.